Helluva Boss is so interesting, partially because of how its various characters all begin to become connected at a certain point. We saw RoboFizz start off as just a robot that Blitz used to work with, before later discovering that Blitz and the true Fizzurale were actually childhood friends who had a dramatic falling out. Striker is perhaps the most distant character from the main plot so far, and there are a lot of questions surrounding his identity, but like the others, I think he may be connected more to the main storyline than we first thought. Striker was brought in by Stella to assassinate Stolas in episode 5 of season 1, but he and Moxxie ended up having a very unique dynamic with each other despite being seemingly unrelated. With the most recent episode introducing us to Moxxie's father in the Greed Ring, it has me wondering if it's possible that Crimson is not just Moxxie's father, but also the father of Striker, as Crimson's treatment of his wife and son indicates a strange pattern of behavior that might allow this. My name is Deepcut, hit that subscribe button, and let's jump into it. Now, something really fun about Striker is that he is only half imp, which is interesting as he presents himself as sort of the greatest of the imps and invests himself very much in the Wrath imp lifestyle, leaning into his cowboy archetype. His other half has yet to be confirmed, but he seemed to have a striking resemblance to some of the shark-based demons that would start to appear in the background of the show, who I will call loan sharks. This most recent episode introduced us to Moxxie's father, who appears to be a native of the Greed Ring, but who took a wife, Moxxie's mother, from the Wrath Ring. In this same episode, we also got a much closer look at the sharks of the Greed Ring, and one interesting thing I noticed was how hypnotizing the effects on Chaz's eyes were, Chaz being a full shark demon. This pattern was extremely similar to the pattern of Striker, and the two demons seemed to use them in the same way, seductively and hypnotically, to control other people in the room, such as we saw Striker do with Blitz to distract him and even try to convince Blitz to join his side against Stolas and the other overlords. Now, there are plenty of mixed species in Hell, but Hell's class system is based largely on the species of the natives, so we can assume that they likely face certain harassments on top of the one species might experience from another in Hell. Striker may be half imp and half shark, but likely gets treated like he is lower than an imp, leading to a more wild lifestyle out in the wastelands of Wrath, picking up farm work where he can. We still don't know exactly how Moxxie's mother ended up with his father Crimson, but the impression I get from her distance to Crimson is that she was just the first imp that Crimson happened to get pregnant. Wanting an heir to his empire, he would marry Moxxie's mother after getting her pregnant, perhaps even against her wishes. After all, if Crimson was willing to force Moxxie to marry Chaz in a wedding dress and all, and seemed to even murder Moxxie's mother in the end, I don't imagine she felt like she had much of a choice in marrying him. Her goal seemed to be just to provide the best life she could for the child and try to make Moxxie a better man than his father, but along the way she would see that Crimson is not just a horrible man, but a very dangerous one, and eventually decide to leave him, unfortunately leading to her supposed demise as we see her body float up in the same body of water where Crimson dumps the people who have crossed him. My theory today is that it wasn't just Moxxie's mother who ended up pregnant by Crimson, but that he also slept with one of his loan sharks, leading to the birth of Striker, half imp and half shark. Crimson may have wanted an heir, but having one that was a full imp probably would have been important to him. While he may have been happy to sleep around with other demons such as sharks, he probably would have wanted the pregnancy and birth of Striker to be kept a secret, not wanting a half-imp child inheriting his financial empire. He may have even abandoned Striker and his mother in Wrath shortly before meeting Moxxie's mother there. Moxxie was likely an accidental pregnancy, perhaps Moxxie's mother didn't even know exactly who Crimson was when they slept together. But now Crimson would have the chance to raise a full imp child, to come into his business and eventually take it over, and Moxxie's mother likely felt like she had no choice but to be involved. Being abandoned by Crimson would explain a lot about Striker's character as well, not just his shark lineage. Striker was hired by Stella to assassinate Stolas, but to do so he would need angelic weapons, something powerful enough to even kill the overlords, who are often immortal sinners and powerful native demons. The hatred Striker has for overlords is understandable. Most of Hell is essentially enslaved to the royalty, the capitalists, and the overlords who just so happen to have power even without wielding it economically, such as Alistair. While Crimson himself is not immortal and would not need an angelic weapon to be killed, the hatred for overlords as a whole may be because Stryker realized he was the son of an overlord who abandoned him and continues to extort his own communities. In this way, Moxxie and Stryker are actually somewhat similar. Moxxie's plot with his father was foreshadowed in episode 1, where he debates the morality of murdering a human family for their job. He ends up thinking it would be okay to kill a particularly terrible father or even a mob family. Moxxie and Stryker are somewhat on the same page in this regard, that elites in Hell should meet terrible fates for doing crimes. But Stryker doesn't want to just put that in practice against Crimson, but rather all of the overlords of Hell. As Moxxie said in episode 5 of season 1, the use of angelic weapons have completely changed the way war is being waged in Hell. If elites like Stolas or even the overlords have to worry about being assassinated by randos like Stryker, the entire system could collapse. Stolas as a big kill would be just a warning of what was to come for each and every overlord in the 7 Rings of Hell, and I imagine after getting the job done for Stella, his first mission would be to kill his own father, Crimson. Both Stryker and Crimson even share a golden tooth, which is pretty common for characters in the Vivziverse, but may hint visually at the two being connected. We see all sorts of shapes for the horns of imps as well, but Moxxie and his father have a shape that is rather unique, with Stryker's resembling Thur's somewhat as well. Crimson has made it clear in the recent episode that he no longer cares for Moxxie and would happily let just about anyone into the family if he thought it would keep his financial empire going. Moxxie, even before he ran away, never quite lived up to being the son that Crimson wanted, and it gave Moxxie self-worth issues that he deals with to this day. Blitz sometimes acts as a stand-in father for Moxxie, giving him real encouragement in episode 6, not downplaying the things Moxxie does well, something Crimson seemed to do. Stryker, despite being only half imp, is precisely the kind of son that Crimson would have wanted in terms of physical prowess. If Crimson did end up meeting Stryker at this point, he'd likely try to welcome him back into the family, particularly if he thought he could use Stryker to make them both money. Moxxie felt like he didn't compare to Stryker when they first met in the Wrath Ring, feeling like Stryker was invading his work family, so to speak, being the kind of manly employee Blitz would appreciate. This would be the perfect setup for Stryker to do the same thing with Moxxie's real father. Stryker may want to kill Crimson for abandoning him, but if Crimson offered Stryker money for Stryker to kill Moxxie instead, that could be an enticing offer for him, and he could always kill Crimson anyway sometime after getting paid. This would allow Stryker to get revenge on Moxxie and the IMP gang for stopping him from killing Stolas. This plot is not something I would imagine playing out until later in the series, so by then his plans will have been foiled by the IMP gang at least one more time based on the 2022 trailer, where we see Stryker trying to kidnap Stolas and getting into a fight with Moxxie and Millie. And considering how the most recent episode ended, Crimson is absolutely going to try and kill Moxxie. With or without money, it's not a job I expect him to do himself, especially with Millie being there to guard Moxxie, so it would be the perfect opportunity for Crimson and Stryker to team up. This seems to be the overall point of the series, however, with all of these characters after the IMP gang slowly coming together. But for a full breakdown on everyone after Blitz, Millie, Moxxie, Luna, and Stolas, hit that subscribe button because I have another video coming out about that in the next week. See you guys then.